Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
You had an offensive player that you
yeah.
wanted to highlight that stood out as well. Who did you have? Who tabbed the Steph offensive player versus the Vikings?
Look, this one's not going to be a surprise to people as well. I'm going to say Jordan Mason. Because we're all on the Jordan Mason train, the hype train at this point, and for good reason. I think especially with what we've seen from, Trey Sermon and a little bit of TDP, although I thought TDP had a good game in this one compared to the last preseason game. But Jordan Mason, like when he goes out there, he just looks like he belongs. He makes guys miss. He's very quick and decisive. And not only it's good to be decisive, but you also want to make the right decision, right? So it's not just about making a quick decision. It's about making the right one. And Jordan Mason seems to have that. He also has some nice wiggle, when he runs in between like the tackles and everything like that. So I like what I see out of him, and definitely someone I'm really excited about. But at the same time, it makes you wonder, is he going to survive roster cuts? Just the politics of it all. I don't know. I would like to see him on this team, but I also understand that they're very deep at the position right now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
It's bittersweet. Again, we were in positions recently where we had our number 5 running back as our number 1 for the season because of all the injuries. Thankfully, people seem to be staying relatively healthy. I know Elijah Mitchell's got his hamstring, but I went back and looked at attempts and missed tackles from last night. Here we go. And this is the good and the bad of the way the running backs are shaking out. Trey Sermon, 5 rushing attempts, 0 missed tackles forced. Hasty, 3 rushing attempts, 1. All right, that's pretty good. TDP, 10 rushing attempts, 3 missed tackles forced. And Jordan Mason, 9 attempts, 6 missed tackles forced. So you've got Jordan Mason with more missed tackles forced than TDP, Hasty, and Trey Sermon combined with fewer touches. He just passed the eye test. And I saw somebody put up in the comment, here we go, Big Papa again. He's crushing it. He knows his football. Need to see Jordan Mason go against some number 1s. Yes. Yeah, he's going against the number 3s. Like, let's see a little bit more of that balance. Now, here's my question to you, Steph. We know what Jordan Mason is. Do you try to hide him in this week 3 preseason, or do you just let him be a peacock and spread those feathers and fly, baby, and just see what happens? Because do you try to hide him and sneak him through cuts, or do you just want to see what he is?
That's a tough one. I mean, I would try to hide him, but I feel like historically the 49ers haven't really done that with their running backs. I mean, if you recall a few years ago, JaMychal Hasty he was like all pro preseason, like
yes.
putting up, crazy numbers. And, the 49ers didn't shy away from letting him carry the rock and have his shine. And he ended up getting cut and then going to the practice squad. So luckily, he didn't get picked up by anyone, but that's always the risk you take. But like I said, the 49ers don't seem like the kind of team that hides their running backs and, good or bad, right? I feel like a lot of the Jordan Mason hype is contained to, 49er fandom circle, at least so far. Now, if that gets to a national scale, there might be a bigger chance of another team picking him up. But I think it's been pretty contained so far. But like you said, if they let him loose in the next preseason game, it might be a different story. But I also feel like we can agree that probably JaMychal Hasty and Jordan Mason are on the outside looking in just because of where they are in the depth chart currently, right? So I would say that JaMychal Hasty, he's been cut by this team at roster cuts a few times now. So I feel like they could get away with cutting him again, Hasty that is, and having him go on the practice squad and maybe keeping Jordan Mason around. That is if they do feel like there is a threat out there for someone to pick up Mason. But yeah, we'll see. Because I would say Trey Sermon has been, leaving a little bit to be desired. So yeah, those other guys have definitely, stepped up.